a quick spot.
Oh, yeah. All right.
I tell you what, a person who believes that this wasn't set up by our own government is an idiot.
Okay, so that's a, well, actually, that was a good point. I just happened to come across that video right before class started. But, okay, so I got some questions. I got the, yeah, we can exchange questions. I got some questions that I need to answer. Okay, so, all right, so here's one of the questions I need to answer. What was Angela trying to do, or trying to get the reader to do?
Question the prison system.
Engage in. Question the prison system.
Become aware of it.
In the prison system?
Think about other alternatives to prison and how prisons aren't the best option.
Okay. Okay. The reader was supposed to think critically about the question. I don't know how to
Well, I
close.
said that yesterday, you wasn't coming.
About,
No, you said our prisons obsolete. What's the answer?
to think critically about
Did you say critically?
whether prisons are obsolete. Now, okay, critically, to think critically. So, are prisons obsolete? You read it, I mean, she presented that information. Did you think prisons
You want
are
us to
obsolete?
say, you think prisons are obsolete?
Yeah, I mean, did you do what she asked you to do? Did you think critically?
But I didn't really reach conclusion. It's a very controversial issue.
Oh, it's controversial.
You can say you can cancel prisons and put other things, so I don't really think other things are going to control the actual prisons. Like, yeah, a lot of people in prison aren't that harmful, but some are. There are murderers. But, so if we put a murderer in like a school, he's just going to kill everyone. There are going to be victims, and then so there are victims.
Oh, I get what you're saying. You're saying that, okay, well, you can't just get rid of them all together.
Well, if they did commit crimes, what you're saying, she also said that there were unjust laws that would make them be in jail for crimes they did.
If you're going to segregate them, on what are you going to base your segregation?
Yeah. So what is the basis of it? And what he's basically saying is, if you were going to release prisoners, prisoners are going to be violent as well.
Yeah.
They're pretty much going to end up with more victims, and the prisoners going to be back in prisons.
Oh, so it's better just to keep them in there, right?
No, that's not.
No,
So
there's got to be alternatives. It's not fair to leave them in there.
Yeah.
You can't release some of them out and leave the others, because if you are, which ones are going to release them?
Yeah, so why would they be released and not them? So
Okay.
based on the unjust laws, yes.
So in other words, somebody needs to come up, all right, another solution needs to be developed. Because obviously just throwing somebody, or how they establish idiom, putting someone in jail, throwing away the key, throwing away
And the
the
harsh
key.
conditions of jail.
Yeah. So we can't.
Europe, the Indonesia execution.
Yeah. They.
Do you think they deserve to be executed after the change they went from prison? Or
Well, you know what? I don't.
because
How long were they in there? How long were they in prison?
10 years, I believe, and then they changed, and then so they got executed. But do you think?
Wow. Why did it take so long?
See, because I think there was a case against them that they were trying to appeal, but in the end, the
Oh,
lawyer said
they lost the
yeah,
appeals.
because the lawyer said I failed, I lost. So
That's it.
But yeah, Indonesia, that's the unjust law part, because Indonesia said that for smuggling drugs, you get the death penalty, and it's very rigid. So,
No, it's no if, ands, or buts. So if you're gonna smuggle drugs, Indonesia is not a place you want.
might as well just stay back. No, because they went from Australia to Indonesia. Some people were like, why didn't they just stay in Australia?
Yeah. Anyway, okay, so let us continue here. Why did Angela Davis feel that the question, are prisons obsolete, is in urgent need of answering?
Well, because she went to prison, she's empty, she lived it, so she knows that some people in there don't deserve to be in there, and they're treated so harshly, so she wants to.
Okay.
She's familiar
Well,
with
wait. I want to know what she said in the book. I get what you're saying. Huh?
You can't go.
What?
You mean examples from the book? Like,
Yeah, she answered this. Now all these.
She researched the prison population and why they're in there and why and the laws that make them go in there.
Now all these questions she answered. All these questions I'm asking you, she answered in the book. So you remember what she said?
Clearly, no. So,
What? No, not at all.
I'm pretty sure it's
Nothing
something.
rings a bell.
Why is she, I mean, the answer to this is basically the answer to why she's an anti-prison activist.
Why she? That's the answer to that question?
No, I'm saying the answer to that question is the answer to why she became an anti-prison activist.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Is it?
Well, it asks why is it an urgent need of answering, and she doesn't know the question.
Oh, because she's about to go back to prison.
No, because she's an anti-prison activist.
A friend of hers is going to prison.
She's obviously an anti-prison activist.
Okay, here it is.
That's
I know
the big answer you
something.
want
Well,
to
it's Angela Davis' answer. Here it is. Come on, let's read it together. The question of whether the prison has become an obsolete institution has become a popularity in light of the fact that more than 2 million people, wow, out of the world total population of 9 million now inhabit U.S. prisons. So the prisons are growing.
So the population of the world is 9 million in prison.
Yeah.
Double the population of
What? Oh, really? Can you imagine that? So that's why it's an urgent need. Urgent need to be answered because it's growing up. We're going to wait another 10 years when there's like 8 million or something, and what, 20 years from now to be like 20 million. I mean, you know, how many people can you squeeze?
Did she have us to focus on the core of the problem?
And then eventually, they're nothing but prisons and prisoners.
The White House is a prison.
That's Escape from New York. Yeah, it's an old movie.
There's actually a quote, wasn't it?
You ever see that Escape from New York? I guarantee you. I guarantee you they remake that movie. Escape from New York. It's called Escape from New York. What it is that New York became so crime infested that they evacuated the entire city, built these huge walls, and turned it into a giant prison where they put all the prisoners. They just airdrop you in here, and that's it.
So they were just like,
You never make it out. They just airdrop you. Yeah, really. It's called Escape from New York. That's it's old. Anyway. Okay. We didn't finish reading. Jails, youth facilities, and immigrant detention centers are willing to regulate ever larger numbers of people from racially oppressed communities to an isolated existence marked by authoritarian regimes, violence, disease, technologies of seclusion that produce severe mental instability. We're talking about solitary confinement. And we didn't watch a documentary on solitary confinement, unfortunately. Yeah. No. These documentaries, they show how it affects. Not talking about the people that's tied up. 23-hour lockdown. That's what they call it. Oh yeah, food, but you can't go. You're in the little and you stay in there alone for 23 hours a day. No, well, you have to stand. You can lay down and go to sleep. In Russia, however, you can't lay down. You only have a certain amount of time that you can lay down. If you lay down, you get punished if you lay on your bed.
what if you sleep? And
Huh?
not
No, you're not allowed to sleep. In Russia's, in their supermax 23-hour, well, really for them, I think it's 24-hour lockdown. You cannot sleep except for a certain period of time. You have to sit up, and they watch you. You go to sleep, it's hardcore. Russian prison.
What about the 1 hour? 1 hour for their honest?
Well, 1 hour you go into a cage where you can walk just a little bigger, and you can
Walk around.
walk around a little bit. Okay. Yes. What are the questions? What are some of the questions that need to be answered in order to answer the big question? Of course, she answered this question.
Why is the prison population? Why is there such a prison population? Who decides to go to prison? What?
Come on.
The laws.
No.
What is the law?
Come on. Other questions need to be answered before we even get to this question.
What are some alternatives?
Yeah, can we do something?
Our prisons obsolete. That's the main question. Which?
Come on. The most immediate question today is, this is Miss Davis. how to prevent the further expansion of prison populations, how to bring as many imprisoned women and men as possible back into the world, how to rehabilitate. Nobody wants to talk about rehabilitation. No, rehab what?
That was an argument for the Indonesian.
Oh no, no. Well, maybe in Indonesia, maybe they do take rehabilitation serious in India. I mean India,
Because
in Indonesia.
similar to a priest or
Oh, okay.
He was like,
Well, I guess their argument is when faced with death, people will do many things.
to try to.
I mean, really, real. All right, okay. According to Angela, why do we take prisons for granted? That's a good question. Why do we take it for granted? Because they're there?
What do you mean taking it for granted?
Take it for granted.
Conditions.
Think about something. Think about things you take for granted. What are some natural habits of people when they take something for granted? Like for instance, the water. When do you notice the water at home? When it's not. Right. So, apply that same reasoning to this question here.
No. Why don't we just stop with the question?
My answer is that it's not an immediate.
Okay, now Miss Mina? Oh, that's good. In other words, we have this romantic view of what prison is. The prisons are. All right. That prisoners in the prison, they being active, they making like pottery or something. Ah, yes. Or you got this vision of the prisoner with glasses who's reading this big pile of books. Okay.
Or prison working out.
Yeah, prisoners working out like T.J. Fletcher, T.C. Fletcher, T.J. Fletcher, or T.C. Fletcher. T.J. Fletcher. You know T. Fletcher.
No. I don't
I think I know that.
He's YouTube. He's the trainer who currently trains Mr. Olympia, Miss Olympia.
Are you going to watch the Mayweather?
Huh? Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. Well, we know Mayweather's gonna win, but wait. Oh, well, here we go.
Just because of
Y'all joking, right? Of course, Mayweather is
one of them.
No. I don't. Mayweather is gonna. We already know Pacquiao's chin is very soft. He better be soft. He better be fast, because if he get hit that chin by Mayweather, he gonna be out. Did you see when he got knocked out that time about 3 fights ago? But was it from an uppercut?
Or was it just a shoot?
No, I think maybe it was. But he just was like not expecting it. He thought he actually had to fight one, talking about Pacquiao. He had to fight one, so he relaxed a little bit.
Did you talk? Did you talk to the negative coach?
No. He was just like, okay, I think it was the 11th round or whatever. He's like, okay.
So then he got.
He didn't get just knocked out. Actually, at first I thought he was dead. I mean, I was like, whoa.
I think he might.
He said, I'm 100% confident.
Oh, really?
Maybe he looked at Mayweather's fights and found a way.
Yeah, maybe he is a genius.
No, he's not stupid enough to call out Mayweather. Yeah, let's think him win.
That southpaw is going to get him in the jaw. Anyway, it is difficult to imagine life without them. At the same time, there is a reluctance to face the realities hidden within them. So, just what Miss Amina was saying, a fear of thinking about what happens inside them. Thus, the prison is present in our lives, but at the same time, it's not. It's absent from our lives. To think about this simultaneous presence and absence is to begin to acknowledge the part played by ideology in shaping the way we interact with it, with social surroundings. So we know they exist, but we don't want to really acknowledge that they exist. You know, we take prisons for granted, but are often afraid to face the realities they produce. After all, you know, no one wants to go to prison. But it would be too agonizing to cope with the possibility that anyone, including ourselves, could become a prisoner. We tend to think of the prison as disconnected from us.
So we're not part of that world.
No, we know it exists. We know it's over there, and we want to think positive things about what goes on in there, but we don't want to think about it.
It's obviously not positive, because you're put there,
According to the book, was the issue of prisons an issue of race? According to the book, not according to you.
The prison population, 42% of all prisoners are Hispanic and 30% of all prisoners are, yeah, 29% of
If it's a question
So
of
did she say that because she wanted to make a point that it's an issue of race?
Yes.
Yes, well, why else?
Well, she was comparing this, obviously.
Okay. That's the question. That's the question. That's the question. So you say yes. No one says no.
I'll say no.
Huh?
It'll make it more interesting.
Okay. Hello?
But wait, if she was talking about what happened?
And Weldon talked about his experiences.
I was reading the work of Raoul Hilberg, who wrote about the destruction of European Jews in the Holocaust.
We've long known that the process of destruction was an undertaking step by step.
I realized that there was a chain of destruction, that what he was talking about could be expressed by links in a chain around the world in more than one society. People do the same things again and again, decade after decade, century after century. Now, this chain of destruction begins with the phase we can call identification, in which the group of people is identified as a cause for problems in society. People start to perceive their fellow citizens as bad, they're evil. They used to be worthwhile people, but now all of a sudden, for some reason, their lives are worthless. The second link in the chain of destruction is ostracism, by which we learn how to hate these people, how to take their jobs away, how to make it harder for them to survive. People lose their place to live. Often they're forced into ghettos, where they're physically isolated, separate from the rest of society. The third link is confiscation. People lose their rights, civil liberties. The laws themselves changed, so it's made easier for people to be stopped on the street, patted down, searched, and for their property to be confiscated. Now, once you start taking people's property away, you can start taking the people themselves away. And the fourth link is concentration. Concentrate them into facilities such as prisons, camps. People lose their rights. They can't vote anymore, have children anymore. Often their labor is exploited in a very systematic form. The final link in the chain of destruction is annihilation. Now, this might be indirect, by, say, withholding medical care, or withholding food, preventing further birth. Or it might be direct, where death is inflicted, where people are deliberately killed. These steps tend to happen of their own momentum, without anybody forcing them to happen. I think a lot of people would be disturbed and outraged by the thought that any part of this process could be going on in America. But it wasn't until I began studying the drug war that I realized that some of these same steps were happening. For instance, identification.
All of us agree that the gravest domestic threat facing our nation today is drugs.
The way to take a problem and make it a huge problem is first you ask the wrong question, and then you feed us the wrong answer.
Who's responsible? Let me tell you straight out. Everyone who uses drugs, everyone who sells drugs, and everyone who looks the other way.
You identify people, their characteristics. You make them other using fear-mongering as if they're the cause of our problems.
These people are killing our kids. These people are disrupting society. These people are wrecking our society.
Secondly, ostracism. Society learns to hate drug users.
If you're a casual drug user, you're an accomplice to murder.
You apply special laws to them that don't apply to others.
Now, all of a sudden, these people who've previously just been identified as drug users become criminals.
If you break the law, you no longer have a home in public housing.
The ultimate effect is isolation, being cut off from mainstream society.
We started out, we identify them, we figure out who they are, then we start making laws to prevent them from being around our children. You push them out of the places where they may be successful, and so where do they go?
The area of the least opposition, the modern American ghetto. We managed to isolate the poor economically.
You force them out of the place where they could live and work and possibly be successful, and now you make them criminals.
So once the economics has done its business, then you can have different levels of policing. You can change the rules.
You're under arrest. For what? You got a bench warrant, probably for drugs.
Hey guys, you know the program. Get the hands up, turn around.
Confiscation. Any property they find on you can be subjected to civil forfeiture.
The money's ours now. That's my money now.
Federal and local police seized these vehicles after their occupants allegedly purchased cocaine and other drugs.
If we're seizing their property, it's really a simple next step to start seizing their persons.
Holloway was arrested on charges of resisting arrest and wandering with the intent to buy drugs.
In the drug war, there's more that's being confiscated. Okay? That's being taken from them is all hope in a future.
What y'all getting them for? The warrant we told you was narcotics.
With the drug war, we've gone as far as the concentration phase.
My government says we're fighting a heroic war against drugs and the war against people who use drugs. And frankly, a lot of them are just going to have to be locked up.
Extraordinary numbers of people are in prison because of drugs, yet it is not a place to get drug treatment. They come out, and then we're surprised that we have the highest recidivism rates, and that results in this cycle of incarceration and overcrowding.
This concentration of people, whether it's in inner city ghettos or in prisons, creates a culture of hopelessness that is incredibly corrosive. When they don't have any prospects, people turn to drugs.
And then we'll pursue them, and we'll be able to hire a bunch of prison guards and parole officers and narcotics detectives and drug treatment people. In the short term, some people have jobs.
Annihilation. That's not happening with the drug war in this country. But there are subtle but real ways that don't involve indiscriminate mass killings, such as preventing births.
$200 cash payments to women addicted to crack to be sterilized.
Violence in prisons.
Severe overcrowding sparked jailhouse riots.
27 inmates died yesterday.
People swept up in drug war violence.
140 drug killings this year.
An Iraqi war veteran was killed after SWAT team officers stormed his Tucson, Arizona home in a drug raid that turned up no drugs.
Now, it's important to remember or to realize it isn't that the war on drug users is the same as what happened in other societies, but that both are wars on ordinary people, people who are just like us.
You've got to have an enemy for everything. The way that Germany in the 30s rebuilt their infrastructure, rebuilt their industries, and rebuilt their pride, their nationalism, was by saying that these people, this group of people, is the cause of all of our woe, and if we hate them, we'll be better off.
But we're not doing that, are we?
I don't think it's to that extreme, but we do say those people are bad for us, and if we hate them, our lives will be better. So everybody's got to have an enemy.
The drug war is a Holocaust in slow motion. And it's not somebody arguing racial superiority or arguing for the destruction of a given race or religion. That doesn't exist. Let's be honest about what was unique to the Holocaust. But there is an incredible destruction of human life that is class-based. not race-based, but class-based.
Okay, and a really good point that clip is making.
People back then, people back in the 1950s, 1960s, they were not exposed to such widespread media, so they're not as conditioned as the generation nowadays.
But that's a good point. But remember when we watched The Pervert's Guide to Ideology? And that was one of the signs of an ideological belief, that a group of people, get together and they decide to have these particular systems of belief. But one of them is that you have to have an enemy. Your ideology, you have to have an enemy.
That ideology was always there, not just. That ideology was always there, it's not just now.
Yeah. So every group of people, they tend to have an enemy, and usually that's this boogeyman that they can say, well, if we deal with this boogeyman, we will have much better lives. So to answer that question, and I would like to answer the question. I'm sorry. Let me go back. To answer that question is yes or no?
Yes. Not necessarily race, but a lot of things could be race could be class.
So, according to the book, huh?
Discrimination in general. Yeah.
Okay. So it's not just race-based.
Yeah, it's not just race. And all those Jewish people, Jews in a race.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is.
It's not just have. Yeah.
So this is okay. So this is not just a race thing. This is just a what would we call it? An oppression thing, or just a consequence of that particular society's ideological beliefs, that they just decided that these people who do these things are enemies.
The people they want to be in prison.
Which is quite strange, because they're starting to accept the behavior of those people now. They have legalized certain drugs like marijuana, which is quite strange for me. It's quite strange because,
I don't okay with it.
Yeah. When you think, to a certain degree they had to, because the population has gotten, the prison population got so really they have to start eliminating the non-violent folks. Because it was more profitable. Right. So now it's not because of good faith, whatever. What are the links in the chain of destruction?
Confiscation.
Ostracism.
Ostracized. Isolation.
Isolation.
Confiscation. Then confiscation.
Okay, slow down. Go back.
Identification.
Come on. Identification.
Ostracism.
Confiscation.
Confiscation.
No. Isolation first or confiscation?
Concentration.
No,
what's this last?
Concentration is last?
Yes. No, they concentrate them.
You sure?
Yeah. No, it's absurd.
All right, let's see how you did. Okay, so here we go. Identification.
Ostracism.
All right, we just giving we giving some examples.
Wait 1 second. It's not almost.
Ostracism, like ostrich. Don't quote me on that one. Yes.
Hang on.
Confiscation. Yes. Yes.
Isolation.
Yeah. Okay. Just examples. Concentration. Yes. That's last. Or is it?
I hope it. No. Wait, hold on.
Isolation.
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
That's concentration, isn't it?
No.
Isolation.
How about
Annihilation. Wow.
It's an annihilation.
Oh my God! It's annihilation.
Remember?
Wow. Indirect or direct. When it's indirect, it's sterilization. When it's direct, it's just straight, put everybody down on the ground. Okay, so it's over with. Or you make them just
Kill themselves?
yeah, they hate their lives so much that they just say, forget it. You remember the bridge? Remember the bridge?
Did you see the Zayn Malik Stephen Hawking thing? When they had a hologram of Stephen Hawking, he was giving us a meeting with a hologram in the university, and they were asking him questions. And the question, he asked him, what do you think of Zayn leaving One Direction?
What they said? Who? What?
What do you think of Zayn leaving One Direction?
Oh.
And Stephen Hawking was like, finally a question worth answering.
You know many people suicide? Many people suicide? 147, I think. They suicide.
Because of Zayn. Yeah. Well, who is Zayn?
It's a band. You never heard of the band One Direction? They're a boy band.
Oh, you talking about
it's a band. It's a band.
Wait a minute. From the 90s. From the 90s. You're talking about
the 21st century. 2012.
The Backstreet Boys. Yeah.
No.
That's what you're talking about.
It's a group of teenagers that less heterosexual than the Backstreet Boys, and a little more.
It couldn't be worse than Backstreet. There's nothing can be worse than Backstreet Boys. All right, wait.
There was a song for Backstreet Boys. What was the song? It was like the famous.
Okay. Don't make a difference. I don't know how to get rid of it. What conclusions? Hello. What conclusions can we reach from understanding the chain of instruction while considering Angela Davis' book?
Thanks for that point.
Yeah.
Well,
whatever.
They make it end.
Okay.
Yeah, I will believe that because it can also be a way to create national unity.
What about the one that's not there? How about that? Any other points we think?
I think I agree that's awesome.
Yes? Any other ones?
I mean, you didn't specify how many points you wanted.
Drawing parallels. So let's draw some parallels. Limitation. You sure it's a limitation?
It's valid. I can read. It might be stupid.
Check your eyes again. Listen to the teacher. The American justice system is going to model for other developing countries. Yes, it is.
That is true.
Yes.
Yeah,
definitely. The American justice system represents the next to the last link to change instruction. What is the next to the last?
Concentration.
It
said next to the last.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Feel good retribution. Feel good retribution. Yes, that's okay. Good. We already talked about that point. Well.
Once your work is finished, don't watch the television. Once your work is finished, find something constructive.
Okay, all right. We have completed Angela Davis's in Islamic school. We'll talk about tomorrow.
Yeah, that's rolling the hard way. We don't want to roll quite that hard. We want to get one of them little minibuses.
What's up?
A person who believes that this wasn't set up by our own government is an idiot.
Everybody's gone out of their mind.
Welcome to Mr. Quick's class.
Welcome to Mr. Quick's class.
Welcome to Mr. Quick's class.
Welcome, Mr. Quick's class.
Oh, yeah. All right.